This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1946. 10 Things to Know About Being in a Relationship with an HSP, Part 1, by Lisa Petsinis of HighlySensitiveRefuge.com. Hello, everybody, and thanks a lot for joining me on this fine Monday. I'm your host, Greg Audino, here to ensure that you get a good start to your week. And to help me do that is the work of no other than Lisa Petsinis, one of the fine and talented folks from Highly Sensitive Refuge, which is one of the biggest support centers for highly sensitive people. Between today's episode and tomorrow's, Lisa is going to fill us in on what we should expect when dating or in a relationship with an HSP. There's a lot to get through, so let's get into her content right now and start optimizing your life. 10 Things You Should Know About Being in a Relationship with an HSP, Part 1, by Lisa Petsinis of HighlySensitiveRefuge.com. HSPs are highly lovable, not high maintenance. As unique individuals, we all approach dating and relationships with different personalities, preferences, backgrounds, and ways of doing things. Sometimes we're even wired differently. Some of us are highly sensitive people. What does being a highly sensitive person mean exactly? Well, it means that you have an innate trait, and not a disorder, in which you are acutely affected by the environment and have highly attuned senses. Your central nervous system is amped up, always taking in information and stimuli in a variety of ways, and often overstimulated by it. Being highly sensitive is a survival advantage. While this may sound negative, being a highly sensitive person is actually a survival advantage. According to Dr. Elaine Aron, an expert and pioneer in highly sensitive people, 20% of the population is highly sensitive, men and women equally. That's enough to know that you're in good company, but not common enough that you're generally understood. Frankly, it's hard to understand what being highly sensitive means when you're not the one experiencing it. This fact can make relationships a little tricky for you at times. Dr. Aron's data also shows that approximately 34% of love relationships involve at least one highly sensitive person, with the HSP usually being the unhappy one of the pair. That's because highly sensitive people may feel extra stressed or disappointed when their needs go unmet in a relationship. And sadly, many highly sensitive people feel misunderstood or worse, like they're the problem for others, even unlovable at times. Sometimes labeled as picky and overly emotional, HSPs struggle because they're keenly aware of their surroundings and, well, feeling different. But you know what? Different is fabulous, and high sensitivity can be an asset in any relationship. So if you're a highly sensitive person, stop feeling alone in this matter and thinking of yourself as high maintenance. And if you love a highly sensitive person, here are 10 things you should know. If you're in a relationship with an HSP. Number 1. HSPs feel deeply. At times, highly sensitive people feel others' emotions as intensely as their own. Yes, they may cry easily when watching movies or reading books. It's like they're living in the character's life, fully taking in the experiences as if it were their own. When we walk into a room or are with the people we care about, we often sense what they need even before they do. Remember that being emotional is not being irrational. In fact, there's a growing body of evidence that suggests that emotional intelligence leads to better decision-making. So, if you can't handle tears or jubilation, you're with the wrong person. Don't call your highly sensitive partner emotional or moody. Instead, see their empathy as a gift and an innate ability to be there for people in need. They'll be there for you when you're down or confused. And when you've hit a high, they'll be elated along with you too. Number 2. HSPs have acute hearing. They may even hear things others don't, hear them more intensely. This includes sounds of bubblegum chewing, the rattling of keys, or background noise when they're trying to concentrate. As a highly sensitive person myself, I remember so clearly the time the house alarm system malfunctioned, and the alarm rang for 2 hours straight until I finally ripped the wires apart in desperation. I thought I would die from the shrillness and force of the sound. The neighborhood dogs and I suffered profusely that night. But just as a highly sensitive person's acute hearing can bring discomfort, it can be a blessing. Think Wolverine. This superhero can hear at a much greater distance than regular humans. In fact, his hearing is so fine that he can use it to react more quickly and gain knowledge sooner than others, even using it as a lie detector. Aside from the practical survival advantages, the HSP's super-sensitive ears allow them to enjoy fine symphonies and soulful ballads. They will melt if you write them a song on your guitar. But do your highly sensitive partner a favor and try not to startle him or her, unless you want them jumping into your arms. Number 3. HSPs can have delicate taste buds and food sensitivities. Highly sensitive people may have very specific tastes in foods and have food sensitivities too. Imagine not being able to eat anything you want and seeing others delight in a buttery lobster or perfectly al dente wheat pasta. For an HSP, a lemon may taste excessively sour and arugula excessively bitter. But oh, will they revel in the sweetness of one single square of dark chocolate and your kisses that will never be enough. Be warned, they probably do not wish to discuss or be reminded of their perceived food issues at every meal. They'll eat what they can and want to, and that's that. And please don't fret if they seem to make dinner dates more complicated. Just call ahead and make sure there's at least one item on the menu your HSP partner can enjoy. Number 4. HSPs may have an enhanced sense of smell. If you're dating an HSP, they may sometimes be shy in bringing up scent sensitivities to you. Your highly sensitive partner doesn't want to come across as rude, but maybe your girlfriend really can't take that new soap you bought, or your boyfriend dislikes the overly sweet smell of your shampoo. And if the smell of cooking chicken makes your sweetie gag, there's probably something wrong with it, and you'd better not eat it either. Their oral olfactory system is on alert for danger, and you'll benefit from that too. That said, their noses are also meant for enjoyment. Their pheromones have been called to a higher duty. Get the fragrance right, and you'll be in for a passionate night. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, 10 Things You Should Know About Being in a Relationship with an HSP by Lisa Petsinis of HighlySensitiveRefuge.com.
If I would have kept making only the minimum payments on my credit cards, my debt would have taken me 47 years to pay off.
These are real National Debt Relief customers.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of debt by myself.
Credit card, medical, or personal loan debt? National Debt Relief negotiates with your creditors to reduce what you owe.
National Debt Relief got me out of debt.
You could be debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months. Visit nationaldebtrelief.com to learn more and get started. nationaldebtrelief.com.
This show is sponsored by Regain Couples Therapy by BetterHelp. Whether you're in the honeymoon phase or partners for life, perfectly content with your partner or going through a rough patch, setting aside time to listen to each other and work through conflicts can transform your relationship. And I can tell you from experience that sometimes the best place to learn how to be the better listener or communicator that your partner needs is in therapy. If your relationship is having ups and downs, or you simply want to work on yourselves together, consider giving Regain a try and see how your relationship can improve, no matter what stage you're at. This is an entirely online form of therapy that's not only helpful, but also designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. The best relationships are always worth fighting for. Try something new in therapy. Visit regain.com/ORD today to get 10% off your first month. That's regain.com/ORD. And a big thanks to Lisa for a great beginning to this post. Really excited to share the rest tomorrow. I'll have more commentary after we wrap up, but already we're seeing the intricacies an HSP can have across the board, in addition to their own nuances that have nothing to do with them being highly sensitive. This really encourages people in relationships with HSPs to get to know them fully and be fully investigative of what makes them tick and how to support them. But just a reminder to end on, this is something we should do anyway. While dating an HSP might make it difficult to avoid such a thing, it's not something we should be avoiding anyway if we're committed partners. Doing this type of work to know your partner, and more importantly, doing so to learn how to support them in unique ways, is really imperative, needless to say. More tomorrow, though, everybody. So until then, thanks a lot for tuning in today and doing right by your relationships and doing so. Think about what you've heard so far and be sure to come on back for the Tuesday show tomorrow, where we will wrap this one up and where your optimal life awaits.